Hello everyone, Joy here, and I am coming to you with a sort of impromptu video. Basically, I've just come back from work from my second shift since the lockdown in the UK ended. The second lockdown has ended. And I am noticing a very disturbing pattern. So, first of all, I have to explain something. I'm currently living in a tier 2 zone. Before this lockdown it was a tier 1 zone, but now it's a tier 2 zone. Okay, so the rules for that include people not mixing in venues with people outside their support bubble. Okay, and I work in one of those such venues. I work in a pub/restaurant, and that's going to be an important, key factor of everything about my perspective on this. So, the law says, and I have copied this down verbatim, okay? Pubs and bars may not provide alcohol for consumption on the premises unless with a substantial meal, so they are operating as a restaurant. Okay, and like I said, I work in a pub/restaurant, so that doesn't really change the nature of the job that I do or the establishment that I work in. However, those words have been causing some contention. So on top of all of that as well, you still have the test and trace scheme, which does lead to some rather humorous but very unhelpful example of some, such thing is on the screen right now, where people are asked to give their details, and yeah. So about the law, about the wording. The idea behind that is that restaurants can serve an alcoholic drink with a meal, as part of that meal, where the meal is the priority thing that people are going to do, The people are going to do that thing at that venue, is have a meal and have a beer or a glass of wine with said meal, okay? That's the idea behind that. However, I've only worked 2 short shifts, and already I've noticed people are trying to abuse the hell out of this. They're trying to find loopholes. And so the company where I work has had to set strict guidelines for what constitutes a substantial meal and how many beverages are in fact permitted with it. And the customers are trying to, basically they're still trying to go to the pub as a pub and have that be the primary reason for them going to the place where I work, and then ordering the meal just because they have to. And I know this is their intention because of the questions that they've asked me. Okay. And I've had someone literally ask me,
what's the cheapest thing on the menu that we can get away with?
And I've heard that question a lot, and it's not always phrased in those exact words, but that's what they are asking. So, my point here today is that the government has not thought this through at all. I mean, what the fuck's new, right? And this is not keeping the economy afloat in the way that they would probably expect or want, And I'm very, very certain that keeping the economy afloat is their primary directive, not healthcare. Why the fuck should healthcare matter in a fucking pandemic? No, we gotta keep that money fucking turning and shifting hands and everything, because moneymaker go brrr only gets you so fucking far, right? It's obvious that this is their priority, and you know, let's just check the statistics just to see how fucking true that is. Okay, so I'm using the official statistics here because this is what I've got to go with. I know that the official statistics are not accurate, but this is the numbers that the government should use because this is their information that they have gathered. You know, this is what they are supposed to be working with. So let's take a look at these numbers. Okay, so 23rd of March, first lockdown begins. Okay, we have 967 cases in that day. Okay, 4th of July is when the first lockdown ends, and we have 624 cases. Now this is in a period where we've had, you know, over the period of the first lockdown, we had the first wave of, you know, cases. I'm just talking about cases here. I'm not talking about fatalities. So we've had that wave, and the number of cases has dropped to below where it was before the lockdown began. But it's still, you know, roughly same sort of ballpark, like 900 cases, 600 cases. You know, nothing's really improved drastically. It's a small improvement. Okay, now the second lockdown. So 5th of November, the second lockdown began, and on that day there was 24,138 cases, and the second lockdown ended on the 3rd of December, which is now 2 days ago, and at time of recording, and the number of cases was 14,878, which is nowhere near as low as the beginning of the first fucking lockdown, right? And in the periods that we're talking about after the first lockdown ended, okay, we had a massive spike starting the second wave of cases on the 2nd of October, and the biggest spike in numbers so far has been the 12th of November, which is when, you know, the second lockdown was still in effect. So what this says is that we've ended the second lockdown. We're still in the midst of the second wave, really. Like, we've seen it peak, we've seen it trough, but it's gonna fucking peak again at this rate. And like I said, it's the number of cases now is much higher than, like, much higher than what they were when they first started the original lockdown. This is playing with people's lives. And I'm sorry, but I have to work in this because, like, my other alternative is quit, and that's not going to provide me with rent and food and, like, you know, I have to work in this. I would rather not, because what I do is not fucking essential in any way, shape or form. But I do, you know, I do provide a service. So what I would prefer is for the government to get its fucking shit together, to stop with this ridiculous half-baked, half-measures kind of approach, and just say, hey, guess what? We do have to lock down further. Like, sorry everybody, Christmas is cancelled. Just, we have to keep people safe. We have to keep the NHS running and not overworked. We have to, because the virus is not going to give us time off because it's the fucking holiday season. it's the same thing as when they said, after we reopened after the first lockdown, yeah, pubs and bars, they can stay open until 10 o'clock. Because coronavirus can tell time. You know, it's going to say, oh, well, it's past 10, we're not allowed to infect people anymore. No, go home, guys. Let's just, you know, tuck ourselves into bed. You know, because nobody's going to be out. It doesn't fucking work that way. And why? Why is Christmas taking priority now over sensible measures? Right? And what it is the government is obviously trying to appease everyone, and they just can't do it. Okay. So for this holiday season, there is a Christmas bubble period. Okay, and I'll put the information for that on screen. It's the 23rd to the 27th. You can have a Christmas bubble, which is a bit more loosely, like, controlled than your regular support bubble. Like, no, just don't. If somebody who you want to spend your time with over holidays isn't already in your bubble, are they really that important to you? Like, and if they are really that important to you, then you're probably best staying away from them, because you run the risk of infecting them, or them infecting you, or, you know, it's just madness. It's just fucking madness. Why do I live in this country? Why do I live in this world that thinks that this is acceptable ways to govern? Like, no, just... And don't even get me started on the whole Brexit situation that's going to happen in 28 fucking days. Really? That's what we should be prioritising. Really? So, anyway. Quite a ranty video today. Sorry about that. It was necessary. So my advice is just obviously follow the government's guidelines, because not doing so will result in fines and prosecution and stuff like that. But my advice is go one further. You know, don't try and see what you can get away with. Just stay fucking home. Just buy yourself a 6-pack of beer and like a pack of nachos and fucking take that shit home. Because there's no actual safe way of doing that. And obviously, you know, obviously this is counterintuitive to say, because my job sort of depends on having people come out and be customers and everything. It's just... If you can figure out a way to do that safely, great. I just don't think there is. And I would rather be not working and stay safe and not run the risk of spreading, you know, infectious disease and everything. Like... But I have to work. So, like I said, quite a ranty video. And, like, please be as safe as you can. And if you are going out, please just do what the people working at the venue you go to say, because our hands are about as tied as yours. Okay, please understand. Okay, I'll leave you there. Usual ending tagline, non-binary is valid. God damn it. And please be safe out there. Bye.